Part 40. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 393. After exchanging greetings with Qin Ji, the keen Richelieu looked at the place behind Qin Ji where the 8 camp girls were. "Commander, they shouldn't be the ship girls of our fleet, right?" Richelieu asked Qin Ji. Qin Ji nodded. "Yes, they are high-level ship girls from the other 8 camps in the world, and they are also awakened ship girls. They are here just to help me grow. I will explain some specific things to you when I return to my residence." "Understood." Richelieu nodded. From Qin Ji's expression, she could sense that Qin Ji was hiding a lot of things. The top executives of the other 8 major camps in the world mean that he is now in one of the camps, and the figures opposite him are all figures he is familiar with, but Dong Huang is the only one who is not there, which means that the commander is a commander from Dong Huang. And they are all relatively strong, because Brother Qin said that they are all awakened ship girls. And since there are so many construction devices in the location where I am sure that the commander is not just my commander, but there should be many commanders. But being able to get the common attention of the 9 major camps can tell that his commander is outstanding. However, his commander did not introduce himself to those people. Instead, he told himself that he would wait until he got back to discuss the matter. Then it must be more than just protection. There may be other meanings in it. Richelieu noticed that there were several mental cubes and supplies at Qin Ji's feet, so he smiled and said to Qin Ji, "The commander must have not completed these tasks, so I will wait aside for a while. This is the best. Besides, you don't have to wait next to me. There are the ship girls of our fleet, including other ship girls who have been following me for a long time and have just been summoned by Belfast. You can get to know everyone. I believe you will all be very welcome." Qin Ji pointed in the direction of Belfast and said to Richelieu. Richelieu nodded. "Then I'll go over first and see you later, Commander." After Richelieu finished speaking, he walked towards the direction of Belfast. Just as Qin Ji said just now, several ship girls there were watching her arrival intently. Qin Ji looked at the scene and smiled, then thought of himself and the 2 ship girls who had not been summoned, so he picked up 2 mental cubes and 1,500 units of supplies and placed them in the heavy builder. As the heavy builder began to rumble, a time soon appeared above the builder's screen. 2 hours and 5 minutes. Seeing this time, Qin Ji breathed a sigh of relief. This time it must be a heavy cruiser. Then he picked up the quick construction tool at his feet, placed it in the groove of the builder, and pressed the start button. The heavy builder began to make noise and shake again, and with the sound and shaking, the time on the screen of the builder was cleared instantly. Then the hatch of the builder began to open, and a golden light was revealed along with the smoke, and in the smoke, a figure was looming. When the smoke dissipated, Qin Ji saw the figure clearly. She has a pair of animal ears and long black hair, with a white hairband tied around her ears, and a black tear mole under her right eye. Wearing a white military uniform, a pair of white high heels in the morning, and a pair of black suspenders on his legs, he looked very seductive. Just when Qin Ji carefully looked at the newly summoned ship girl, the ship girl opened her orange eyes and looked at Qin Ji. Leng Shang suddenly showed an expression of joy. "Era, what a lovely commander I am. Atago, let my sister take good care of you from now on." When Atago spoke the seductive words, Qin Ji was stunned. "Cute. Is this how you describe yourself? I have been in this world for so long, and although I have heard a lot of compliments, most of them say that I look very energetic or handsome. I have never heard of anyone thinking that I am cute." Moreover, Qin Ji really had no defense against Qin Ji, who immediately regarded her as his younger brother. But Atago's name was very familiar to him. He coughed lightly, stepped forward, and stretched out his right hand. "Hello, my name is Qin Ji. I will be your commander from today on. I will ask for your advice in the future." But something he didn't expect happened. Atago didn't hold his right hand like other ship girls. Instead, she stretched out her hands and grabbed his right hand. With smiles in his eyes, he said to Chin-ji, "Since the commander has introduced me so formally, as a sister, I naturally have to introduce myself formally. I am the second ship of the Kaohsiung-class heavy cruiser, the flagship of the Second Fleet, Atago. Many sisters have fought under my leadership. No matter what the task is, feel free to leave it to me, sister, he. Chin-ji was immediately embarrassed by Atago's initiative and wanted to take his hand out, but found that Atago was holding his hand tightly and couldn't pull it out for a while. So I could only listen patiently to Atago's words, with a helpless smile on his face. I understand, Atago, can you put my hand down for now? After all, there are other people here watching, Chin-ji said to Atago. Haha, what's the matter? Isn't it natural for a sister to hold her brother's hand? So don't care about other people's eyes. As long as the commander feels happy, that's fine, Atago said indifferently. Chin-ji was speechless for a moment. He suddenly realized that Atago had just restrained his personality, so he had an idea, pointed to the mind cube at his feet and said, "Although I really want to chat with you for a while, but you see, there is still some work to be done here, so you can get to know the ship girls of our fleet first. Then after I finish the work, I will take you back to the place where we live. Do you think this is okay?" Atago looked at Chin-ji's evasive eyes and guilty expression, and the smile on his face became even brighter. She let go of Chin-ji's hand and said with a smile, "The commander is right, we still have serious things to do, so I will wait for the commander to complete these tasks. Moreover, we just met today, so my sister is not in a hurry." When Atago finished speaking with a smile, he slowly walked towards Belfast with Chin-ji's helpless eyes. Although Chin-ji didn't say where his fleet girl was, Atago could easily tell the difference based on the situation in front of him. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Hwangming Muji. Chapter 394. Seeing Atago leaving, Chin-ji suddenly felt a headache. Because he found that Atago was a very active ship girl, and her intimidation to him was no less than that of Belfast and Kauki, and the others were perhaps even stronger than them. Although Guanghui and Belfast took the initiative, they still took into account some royal etiquette. However, during the interaction with Atago just now, Chin-ji found that Atago was the kind of person who didn't care about other people's opinions. And this very direct character is very restrained in his character. Chin-ji couldn't help but smile bitterly when he thought about what kind of treatment he would receive in the future. But now is not the time to think about this. Chin-ji still has 2 mental cubes and 1,500 units of supplies at his feet, so he picked them up and put them into the heavy builder in front of him, preparing to complete the last ship girl of construction. After pressing the start button, the builder also started to buzz, and as time passed, a time also appeared on the screen of the builder. 4 hours and 30 minutes. Chin-ji couldn't help scratching his head when he looked at this time, because this time was another time that did not appear in the ship girl's manual. If this time appeared in the special builder, he would know that it was a glorious time, but when it appeared here, he was a little confused. But no matter what time it is, it still has to be built. So Chin-ji picked up the quick construction tool at his feet, put it into the groove of the builder, and pressed the start button. Amidst the sound of the builder, the time on the screen instantly cleared to 0, and the hatch of the builder slowly opened. A golden light accompanied by smoke appeared in front of everyone, and a figure also appeared in front of everyone. Into the smoke. Before the figure fully appeared, Akagi and Jiahe behind Chin-ji said something at the same time. How can this be? At the same time, all the ship girls in the 8 camps focused their attention on Kaga next to Akagi, and they couldn't help but widen their eyes at the same time. Obviously at this moment, they were as surprised as Akagi Kaga, and they were even more surprised than Richelieu's appearance before. Because through the smoke, they saw a familiar figure, Kaga. Kaga appeared from the heavy builder. At this time, Shinji did not pay attention to the movements of the 8 camp girls. When the smoke cleared, he was a little stunned when he saw the familiar figure appearing in front of him. I saw that the ship girl had exactly the same attire as Kaga, but compared to the guys I usually saw, she had a more arrogant aura. Just when Shinji was surprised, the ship girl who looked exactly like Kaga opened her eyes, and her blue eyes looked closely at Shinji in front of her. Hey, is this where I'm going to show off my skills next? Yes, I'm Kaga, Battleship Kaga, don't get me wrong. Listening to the introduction of the ship girl in front of him, Shinji couldn't help but look at Kaga standing behind him with Akagi, and for a moment he couldn't say a word. When Battleship Kaga saw Shinji's movements, he also looked in Shinji's direction and found the exact same version of himself. Oh, it turns out to be like this. Let me tell you why you are so surprised. It seems that I was transformed into an aircraft carrier in the end, but now I am a battleship. Battleship Kaga's eyes narrowed slightly, and then he became relieved. When Shinji heard what Battleship Kaga said, he immediately turned around and said to Battleship Kaga with a hint of apology, I'm very sorry for neglecting you, but your appearance really surprised me. I didn't expect that it actually summons you as a battleship. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Shinji. I will be your commander from today on. Please give me your advice in the future. As Shinji spoke, he stretched out his right hand, and Battleship Kaga was obviously not a shy person. She took a step forward and held Shinji's right hand. I am Kaga, the number 1 ship of the Kaga-class battleship. It was originally going to be scrapped because of the treaty, but in the end it was going to be transformed into an aircraft carrier. As you can see, I finally completed the transformation. But compared to Magi, Tisk, I still want to be with you. She decided to win. Shinji saw the straightforward character of Battleship Kaga and said with a smile, actually, you don't have to expect it, because Magi is in my fleet. But now she is training with other ship girls. If you want, you can come anytime, you can all have a showdown with her. Huh, Battleship Kaga was stunned for a moment. You said Magi is in our fleet? Shinji nodded, yes, it's impossible for me to lie to you with such information, right? That's great. Magi is my best opponent and the person I respect the most. Even if I have to assist her, I am convinced, Battleship Kaga said, now I can be both an opponent and as a teammate. It's not a bad feeling. So when can we see her? I can't wait now. But before Shinji could answer, Akagi and Kaga came over. Wait, Shikung said to Shinji. Oh, isn't this the follower who followed Magi closely back then? What's wrong? I don't think your aura is from our fleet, Battleship Kaga said to Akagi. When Shinji heard Battleship Kaga's words, a black line skipped across his forehead. Akagi opposite him frowned, while Jia Cheng, who was following Akagi, covered his face with his hands, looking shameless in front of others. Battleship Kaga, right? It seems you have no memory of your time as an aircraft carrier, Akagi said to Battleship Kaga with some gritted teeth. Aircraft carrier? Why should it be an aircraft carrier? Battleship Kaga looked at the aircraft carrier. Kaga, are the small aircraft of the aircraft carrier really powerful? I don't think so at all, and they can't fight in person. Don't you think it's boring? The aircraft carrier Kaga looked helpless, because she could clearly feel that the Battleship Kaga was indeed the allotrope of her previous life as a battleship. Because aircraft carriers were still under exploration at that time, and it was still an era when battleships were the dominant force, that's why I stubbornly believed that battleships were far better than aircraft carriers. The Battleship Kaga in front of him was like a mirror, clearly reflecting his former self. He was so stubborn and strong back then, and he didn't take Akagi seriously at all. He only had Magi as his opponent in his heart. Seeing that the situation in front of him was not right, Shinji immediately coughed and said to everyone, "Well, I think we can't explain this matter right now. Why don't we go back together and explain everything after seeing Tiancheng?" Sample. "Okay, that's it," Akage said through gritted teeth, because she felt that if she continued to listen to the battleship Kaga in front of her, she might really get violent. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 395. After registering with Ninghai, who was used to Qin Ji summoning a camp flagship from time to time, she returned to the guest house with a twitching expression at the corner of her mouth, only to find that the training ship girl had returned. When Qin Ji returned to the guest house with the newly summoned ship girl, everyone couldn't help but welcome him. In particular, Joan of Arc was very surprised by Richelieu's appearance. But when they saw the battleship Kaga following Qin Ji, the other ship girls were a little confused. They can understand the ship with the same name, but isn't Kaga an aircraft carrier? Even though it was a battleship before, it was finally transformed into an aircraft carrier. So logically speaking, the aircraft carrier is her only form, so what is going on with the battleship in front of her? However, when all the ship girls were confused, Magi seemed a little surprised. "It's you, haha. It seems that my lord is really lucky. I didn't expect to see you again, Magi." Battleship Kaga also looked very excited, and you could see through her thoughts from her expression that she was trying to suppress. "Yes, logically speaking, neither of us can appear in this world. After all, I will die naturally, and you have given up your identity as a battleship and become an aircraft carrier. But now, under the call of the Lord, the two of us are reunited in this world. It really feels like a miracle," Magi said with a smile. "Have you not created enough miracles, Commander? I think this is quite normal. It's been a long time since I last saw Kaga Hai," said beside Magi. "The Imperial summoning ship Hai. Long time no see." Kaga nodded to Hai. "Sister, now is not the time to talk about these things. Although the appearance of this person has opened up more possibilities for us, there is a problem that needs to be solved now, that is, a commander can only have one ship girl with the same name. So, will the appearance of this person interfere with Kaga's plan to join the fleet later?" Akage said to Magi. Magi was stunned for a moment and looked at the aircraft carrier Kaga. At this moment, even she, a scheming person, couldn't tell what would happen after this. Battleship Kaga can be regarded as part of aircraft carrier Kaga, but aircraft carrier Kaga is not battleship Kaga. So can Qin Ji's fleet have both battleship Kaga and aircraft carrier Kaga? At this moment, everyone's eyes fell on Qin Ji. Qin Ji said with some embarrassment, "Don't look at me, I don't know this. After all, the battleship Kaga appeared for the first time in this world. No one had ever tried to have both the battleship Kaga and the aircraft carrier Kaga. So if you want to solve this problem, there is only one way." When Qin Ji said these words, everyone's eyes began to shift to the aircraft carrier Kaga, because they all knew what Qin Ji meant. Indeed, there is only one answer to this question now, and that is for Qin Ji to try to reach a contract with the aircraft carrier Kaga. If the contract is reached, it will prove that a fleet can have two ships with the same name at the same time, but they must appear in different forms. But if the contract cannot be reached, it means that a fleet cannot have two ship girls with the same name, even if they appear in different forms. However, Sheik Hung and Qin Ji had made an agreement before, and they had to wait until Qin Ji summoned the prototype ship in his hand and the light reached awakening. Haha, is this fate? It's really helpless. Magi looked at the battleship Kaga and the aircraft carrier Kaga and smiled. Akagi and Kaga are also extremely confused now, because they find that Qin Ji's luck is really terrifying. he was originally prohibited from summoning the aircraft carrier girl in the special builder, but he didn't expect that he could summon the battleship Kaga from the heavy builder. So now we are faced with the dilemma of whether to continue waiting for Qin-Ji to meet the conditions and then experiment whether he can join Qin-Ji's fleet, or whether to experiment now whether he can join Qin-Ji's fleet and get the answer to this question immediately. After all, with Qin-Ji's luck, it is not impossible to summon a battle cruiser Akage next time. If they really can't join the fleet by then everything Akage and Kaga have done before will be in vain. What on earth is going on? Why can't I understand? Battleship Kaga looked at Akage Kaga, who was a little confused, and Amagi, who was squinting and smiling, with some confusion. At this time, I approached the battleship Kaga with a smile on his face and told her the previous agreement between Qin-Ji and Akage. After hearing this, battleship Kaga laughed. Haha, it seems that you, a follower, are not as powerful as your sister until now. Your sister was very resourceful at the time, but it seems that you are in trouble now. If he really summons a battle cruiser Akage next time, then Amagi will not be your sister. After all, you are not in the same fleet, haha, so interesting. Battleship Kaga said gloatingly. Say it again, I obviously arranged it well, but your commander's luck is so, that's why it's like this. Don't get carried away, Akage's face was dark. At this moment, she finally unable to control his emotions any longer, he yelled at Battleship Kaga. But Battleship Kaga is not an easy person to get along with. Seeing Akage yelling at her, she couldn't help but put her hands on her hips and yelled at Akage, "What, you follower, you still want to refute? After spending so long with him, even a legendary ship girl like Shinano has been summoned, and yet you are still holding on to a bit of luck. If it's not your fault, whose fault is it? How do I know that he can still summon you, who was born as a battleship? He has obviously become an aircraft carrier," Akage continued to roar, showing no signs of weakness. Looking at the battleships Kaga and Akage, who were staring with their eyes close to each other and their faces almost touching each other, Amagi couldn't help but smile and said, "These two are still exactly the same as they were then, but this is not the place for you to quarrel." When Qin-Ji and the other ship girls only heard two crisp sounds and saw Amagi. At some point, he was already standing beside the battleships Kaga and Akage, and a man appeared above the heads of the battleships Kaga and Akage. Big bag. I saw Amagi holding the hands of two people, not caring about the big bags of battleship Kaga and Akage, squinting his eyes and saying with a smile, "You two must get along well, otherwise it will trouble me a lot." Yes, battleship Kaga and Akage seemed to have remembered something terrible, and they trembled at the same time and nodded. The aircraft carrier Kaga on the side looked at the familiar scene in front of him and couldn't help but smile. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 396. Especially remember that it was a long time ago, when he still existed as a battleship, he regarded Amagi as his opponent. Whether you are playing chess or fighting, you are always thinking about how to defeat the opponent. At that time, Nagato was about to step down from the position of chief flagship, and the battle between himself and Amagi also decided who would become the 8th flagship of the Shichsakura United Fleet. And during the battle, the same scene as today also appeared. At that time, Akage's armed forces had not yet been completed, and they were still following Amagi. With Amagi's help, Akage always looked delicate and savage, even when facing himself as a battleship at the time. Thinking of this, Kaga looked at the two people in front of him who had shaken hands and made peace again with the help of Amagi, but the battle between their eyes had not stopped. He couldn't help but recall the scene next to the public notice board during that battle. Huh? Are you an idiot? If you could participate in the battle, it wouldn't be Amagi-san's turn to take action? Just with your unfinished weapons and stupid energy. Humph, you can only talk nonsense at this time. Why couldn't you even be seen during the drill yesterday? How many times have I fought against Magi? I won't be fooled by that old fox anymore. Who knows if she has already set up an ambush when she goes into battle in person. Besides, I am a battleship and your battlecruiser's protection is not at all on the same level. With your weak armor, do you think I would be scared in a head-on confrontation? Humph, my sister and I are fundamentally different from you in terms of design from the very beginning. With our speed of up to 30 knots, we can chase you and beg for mercy all over the place. You mean you can run away faster? You unreasonable white-haired old monster. You are the unreasonable, big-breasted, and brainless follower. While he was arguing with Akagi, Magi appeared. Just like what happened today, a big bump appeared on each of his and Akagi's heads, while Magi smiled and reconciled himself with Akagi. Seeing the familiar scene in front of him, Jaga suddenly turned to Shinji and said, "Commander Shinji, let's sign a contract." As soon as Kaga said these words, all the shipgirls in the lounge suddenly became quiet and looked at her with wide eyes. Even Akagi, who was rubbing his head at this time, looked at Kaga in surprise, but Magi looked like he had expected it, and still squinted and smiled, as if he had seen through everything. Shinji also looked at Jiahe in surprise at this time. "Jiahe, you have to understand the consequences of what you say. You know, a ship girl who joins the commander's fleet will never be able to do it again. A senior member of the camp. Although you and Akagi have resigned from the leadership position of the Shigisakura camp, if you go back, you can still take that position again with your abilities. But if you sign a contract with me today, there will be no going back. Although it is possible to fail when signing a contract, there is always a chance of success. You have to think clearly." Kagami smiled and said, "I have thought it over carefully before saying this to you. And Akagi and I have never planned to go back since we left Shigisakura's place. Everything today only strengthened my belief. In fact, what Commander Shinji and Akagi agreed on is now just a matter of time, because I found that Guanghui has now reached the edge of awakening, and only needs one. You can enter awakening at any time if you have the opportunity. For the project ship, it's just a matter of time, and I've been with you and witnessed so many miracles, so what reason do I have to refuse? So come on, sign a contract with me, and if it succeeds, you will get an awakened ship girl. If it fails, then I can also set an example for Akagi and let her join your fleet as soon as possible." Kaga. Akagi looked at Kaga with a surprised expression. "It's okay, sister, trust me, trust Commander Shinji," he said with a smile. Immediately, she turned to Shinji and stretched out her hand. "Come on, Commander Shinji, do you think you hesitate?" Shinji looked at the determined Jiahe in front of him, smiled and shook his head. "How could I hesitate?" After saying this, Shinji reached out and held Jiahe's hand. The two of them closed their eyes at the same time and began to debug from the depths of their souls. After the Shinji fleet defeated the Siren fleet at sea, Spence was salvaged. At that time, Shinji signed a contract with Spence. The signing process between the two went very smoothly. When Shinji held Spence's hand, a glimmer of light shone between the two hands, and then it enveloped as the light gradually faded away between the two of them. Spence had already called Commander Shinji. But now, will that light appear between him and Kaga? No one could say for sure about this matter. All the shipgirls looked at Shinji and Jiahe. Especially Akagi, her eyes were complicated and she didn't know what she was thinking. 1 minute or two, as time gradually passed, the light never appeared where Shinji and Jiahe shook hands, but the eyes between the two never opened, as if everything was going on, but no one knew when will this process end. Suddenly, Shinji and Jiahe's eyes opened at the same time, and Akagi's face suddenly turned pale. "Did you fail?" No one answered her, but it could be seen in the somewhat disappointed look in everyone's eyes. But at this moment, Qin and Jie smiled at the same time, and a blue light burst out from the hands they held, covering their bodies in an instant. This. Seeing the ups and downs in front of him, Akagi suddenly covered his mouth and couldn't say a word. Haha, it seems that my guess is correct. Even if it is an allot rope, if you meet the Lord, then all problems will not be a problem. Tiancheng looked at the scene in front of him and said with a smile. When the light gradually dissipated from the two people's bodies, it returned to the hands of the two holding each other. Qin Ji looked at Jie in front of him and smiled. Let me introduce you again. My name is Qin Ji. I will be your commander from today on. I can give you some advice. I am Kaga, the heavy aircraft carrier of the 1st Air Force. From now on, I will be yours. This is probably my destiny, Kaga said to Qin Ji, with a bit of relief in his tone. With a bit of unruliness. Welcome, Kaga, Qin Ji said with a smile, but he paused. But we now have two Kaga in the fleet, how should we call you two? It is impossible for one to be called Zanli Kaga and the other. One is called aircraft carrier Kaga, right? For a moment, the battleship Kaga and the aircraft carrier Kaga were stunned. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 397. Although calling someone a name is usually a very small thing, even if you meet someone with the same name, it doesn't have much impact. But for the commander and the ship girl, the title is a very important thing. Because the situation on the battlefield is changing rapidly, orders need to be issued in a very short time. If Qin Ji issues an order on the battlefield in the future, let Kaga go in a certain direction. Originally, only one battleship or aircraft carrier was required to pass by, but two Kaga passing by together would cause certain obstacles to the implementation of the plan. So this is why all ships in the naval fleet must be assigned a name or code name. Looking at the battleship Kaga and the aircraft carrier Kaga, who were looking at each other, Amagi smiled and said, actually, this question is very simple. For Kaga, becoming an aircraft carrier is her ultimate destiny. And the time when the aircraft carrier Kaga appeared was also it took a long time, and the senior leaders of each camp were familiar with her. It would be very troublesome for her to change her name. So I think that for the battleship Kaga, she is an allot rope of the aircraft carrier Kaga and a part of the aircraft carrier Kaga. I suggest that she be called Luan, the codename of Kaga. Qin Ji nodded after hearing Amagi's words, and said to the battleship Kaga, Amagi's proposal is quite good. Even if he is called Luan, it still means Kaga, and it does not mean that he has changed his name. What do you think, Kaga? It doesn't matter. For a strong person, a name is just a code name. And this is Amagi's decision, so I have no reason to refute it. Battleship Kaga said, no, it should be called Luan now. But after Luan said these words, he turned his head to Qin Ji, but I have a condition. Qin Ji asked doubtfully, what are the conditions? That means you can't stop the duel between me and Tiancheng, Luan said with full fighting spirit. Qin Ji was stunned for a moment, then smiled, except for things on the battlefield and within some behavioral regulations, I generally will not hinder any of my ship girl's actions. As long as Tiancheng agrees, I have no objection. Amagi smiled slightly, if the Lord says there is no problem, then of course I have no problem. It is also a very beautiful thing to have an opponent to compete with and a friend to reminisce about the past. Luan showed an excited smile, then Tiancheng, please give me your advice in the future. Seeing Tiancheng and Luan smiling at each other, Qin Ji breathed a sigh of relief, finally settling the matter here first, but then he turned his head to Akagi, and his head started to hurt again. Things are the most important thing now. So Akagi, what are you going to do now? Qin Ji looked at Akagi and said, are you going to join my fleet like Kaga now? Or, wait until you and I complete our agreement before saying the following words. Listening to Qin Ji's question, Shikong couldn't help but feel helpless. Now she had lost her wife and lost her troops. I originally thought that whoever I and Kaga were, naturally they couldn't join Qin Ji's fleet just like that. Even though Qin Ji's fleet has Tian Chen, even Qin Ji, this person is full of miracles. But for her, the leader of Chongying, it was still a little weak after all. Therefore, you must make yourself recognize Qin Ji before you can legitimately join his fleet and find a new future. But everything seemed to be a joke with Shikong. First, Qin Ji threatened her with his luck, telling him that if he didn't pay attention to it early, he might summon his own ship. Although Akage was very reluctant to change her decision, she really didn't have the ability to ignore Qin Ji's luck. As long as he let go of the summons, how could he not summon himself and Kaga? So even though she was very unhappy, she still changed her decision and repeatedly adjusted the number of awakened ship girls and the time to join the fleet. The condition was that Qin Ji could not summon the ships in the special builder again during this period of time. Mother. Because what she thinks is that as long as Qin Ji doesn't summon the ship girl in the special builder, then there won't be a second Akage and Kaga, and it doesn't matter if she delays it for a while. However, she never expected that Qin Ji's luck was no longer what she thought was good, and had reached an incredible level. In the latest summons, Kaga, who used to be a battleship, was summoned. When seeing this scene, Akage felt incredible. Even though the special builder was sealed, Qin Ji's luck could not be stopped. She couldn't help but think, if Qin Ji continued to summon, what if Akage, who was a battle cruiser, was summoned? The battle cruiser Akage is fundamentally a member of the Magi class, and it is a legitimate sister ship to Magi. What should I do then? Moreover, Jiahe and Qin Ji had just signed a contract, and now she had gone from being a sister ship in the first air battle to being alone. Thinking of this, Shishin's face became more and more gloomy. She said to Qin Ji in a low voice, "Commander Qin Ji, I didn't expect that I would be completely defeated by you this time, regardless of whether it was obvious or not. No matter whether it was a plan or a stratagem, every trace was eliminated by you. And now that even Kaga has joined your fleet, I am now truly alone. Commander Qin Ji, what do you think I should choose now?" Qin Ji listened to Shishin's somewhat low and angry voice, but it revealed a tone of helplessness and unwillingness. He couldn't help but touch his nose and said awkwardly, "You should know that I never thought that such a thing would happen," and said, "To be honest, I am no less surprised than you are now. But now that things have happened, we must discuss what will happen next. Kaga has just said that, counting our agreement, I am actually almost halfway through it now. Glory is now only one step away from awakening, and after this period of hard work, less than half of the data collection of the project ship has been completed, and the rest is a matter of time. So I have an opinion, how about you listen to it?" "Oh? What's your opinion?" Shikong asked Qin Ji. "Then you and I will sign a contract now and join my fleet. However, you and Kaga don't have to participate in anything in our fleet for a while. Only after I reach the agreement with you will I be able to command you at that time." "Rights, how about it?" Qin Ji said to Shikong, with a hint of excitement in his words. Shikong narrowed his eyes after hearing this. "Haha, Commander Qin Ji's plan is really good, and I really can't refuse such a conspiracy, but do you know? It's possible that even after you and I complete the agreement, will I obey your command." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 398. Qin Ji smiled and said in a confident voice, "So what? For me, you and Jaga joining my fleet can only be regarded as the icing on the cake, not a timely help. Even without your joining, I believe that my fleet will still continue to improve its strength under my leadership and be able to stand firm in this world. Bismarck, Veneto, and Richelieu, they are all the flagships of the same camp. I believe they are not much worse than you. The difference between you now is only time, and I am still very young. I have time to train them and let them reach your current level or surpass you. The future belonging to our fleet must be colorful and full of hope. This is my wish, and this will become inevitable in the future. Haha, the commander is right, this is what we want to say. Veneto smiled. Even if we are far behind you in strength now, it does not mean that we will be so far behind you in the future. We are always moving forward, always working hard, and always getting stronger. Just like my oath, I will definitely let the power of the Sardinian Empire spread throughout the sea area. And similarly, we will let the flag of our fleet fly high in the sea area. These decisive words made all Qin-Ji's ship girls clench their hands. With such excellent and confident commanders and such charismatic and influential leaders, what difficulties can stop them? Shi Kung was stunned for a moment when he saw this scene, and then he laughed. Haha, interesting, I haven't been this happy for a long time. Commander Qin-Ji, in that case, let's sign a contract. I want to be by your side watching you, watching how you bring this fleet to that height. And, as I said, I will only obey your command when I recognize you. Otherwise, even if you encounter danger in the sea, I will not save you. Qin-Ji smiled and stretched out his right hand. Then please wait and see, Shi Kung. Haha, let's wait and see. Shi Kung smiled and took Qin-Ji's right hand, and they both closed their eyes at the same time. Just like when they signed the contract with Kaga, it took a long time for Qin-Ji and Akage to open their eyes at the same time. At this time, a ray of light bloomed from the palms of the two people, instantly covering them in the light. Then the light gradually faded, and Qin-Ji and Shi Kung also completed the signing of the contract. Kaga couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when she saw this. She was afraid that Akage Yufan would be stubborn and not sign a contract with Qin-Ji. But now the situation seems to have been completed, so I don't need to worry too much anymore. As for the mutual introduction between the commander and the ship girl, we don't need to do it for the time being. As I said before, you and I have just signed a contract, but I still don't recognize you now. When I am enough, I will only accept you when I recognize you. Shi Kung looked at Qin-Ji and said. Qin-Ji looked indifferent. Anyway, the contract has been signed and Shi Kung in front of him can't run away, so there is no need to be impatient during these times, just take your time. So Qin-Ji nodded. So now, are you going to continue to live in the school's guest house? Or are you going to live with me? You don't have to worry about this matter. Of course I don't mind if you prepare a room for us here, Shi Kung said to Qin-Ji. Okay, then I understand. Qin-Ji nodded. If there is nothing else, then it is time to welcome new companions to join us. If you want, you can stay and celebrate with us. Of course if you have anything to do, you can do it yourself. After Qin-Ji said that, he turned to look at Belfast. Belfast, please help arrange the companions we summoned today, and then we will hold a welcome banquet on the first floor. Understood, my master. Belfast bowed to Qin-Ji, and finally left the rest area on the second floor with expectant faces and walked towards the third floor. At this time, Amagi also smiled at Qin-Ji, leaving a slightly meaningful look in his eyes, and left the rest area on the second floor with Akagi and Kaga. Looking at the backs of the three people who were gradually leaving, Prince Yujin couldn't help but smile. Haha, it seems that the commander will have a headache in the future. Qin-Ji waved his hand. I don't care. Akagi and Kaga were originally the leaders of Chongying. They have arrogance that ordinary ship girls don't have, so they have no choice but to make this choice now. I can understand their feelings. So I can accept whatever emotions they use to treat me now. The most important thing is that our fleet will continue to work hard to make our capabilities stronger and stronger, so that we can arouse the respect of others. That's right, Commander has grown a lot in this period of time, Guang Hui said with a smile, and the tenderness in his eyes could melt Qin Ji. In the final analysis, it is a question of our strength. Commander, now we have 3 camp leaders, so I have a suggestion. What do you think? Bismarck said to Qin Ji. What suggestions can you give me, Bismarck? Qin Ji asked. If I guess correctly, starting from tomorrow, the commander will continue to take the royal ship girl on missions in order to summon this planned ship as soon as possible. But now the number of ship girls in our fleet is no longer what it used to be. With our current improvement in training, we also have the conditions to carry out tasks independently. Therefore, I suggest that starting from tomorrow, Veneto and I will lead a group of people to perform missions. On the one hand, we can improve our training through missions, and on the other hand, we can also accumulate more resources for our fleet through missions. Richelieu and the others had just been summoned, so they stayed in the academy for training. At the same time, 1 or 2 ship girls who are familiar with our training methods will be left behind to guide them. In this way, we each perform our duties, and the strength of our fleet will increase very quickly. What do you think? Bismarck said. Qin Ji thought for a moment, then nodded. Bismarck's suggestion is very good. Now that you have experienced the Siren Tide, your training has generally improved a lot, and you can indeed start performing tasks alone. So starting from tomorrow, Bismarck and Veneto, you two will start leading people on missions. And I think you can also take the ship girl we summoned today with you during the mission and let her follow you on the mission, but you have to be responsible for her safety so that she can integrate into our team faster. Fleet. There is no problem with this. We can rotate the replacements, just like the commander did at the time. Bismarck nodded, and the matter was confirmed. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 399. Deep in the ocean, the Siren Stronghold. The door of the observation room was opened from the outside, and the figure of the tester appeared at the door. She looked at the observers who were still sitting in the observation room and watching the big screen. She walked in directly with an expressionless face. How is it? The observer asked, but her eyes remained focused on the screen. The task of setting the Siren Tide this round has been completed, and each camp has successfully defended it, the tester said. Haha, in this year's Siren Tide, only the strength of the Donghuang camp has changed. Except for Donghuang, the other camps are the same as before. If they can't hold on, it means there is something wrong with them. The observer smiled. Speaking of it, his tone was full of ridicule. But during this Siren Tide, an interesting thing was discovered, the tester said to the observer. What? The observer asked. The Shinano we discovered last time in Chongsakura has now appeared in the waters of Shenhua City in Donghuang. And we also discovered Bismarck and Veneto in the waters, the tester said. The observer narrowed his eyes. I know this situation, and I have been paying attention to the movements of these ship girls for a while. And I found that they are not ship girls in this world, but came from a commander's call. You know what the program is for our world, so basically those people will not appear. But now that those people have appeared, it means that the trajectory of this world has changed. The point that caused the trajectory of this world to change must be the human being named Qin Ji. So, is he a singularity? The tester asked. The observer smiled playfully, waved his hand, and an image appeared on the screen. In the image was a desert island. There was no one on the desert island at this time. But in the blink of an eye, a crack appeared, and a man in a white navy uniform fell out of the crack and landed on the beach. This is data I accidentally discovered when I was inspecting unmanned ships. The observer smiled. This crack doesn't seem to be a passage between worlds. It seems like a one-way passage. The world connected is not our experimental world, but a brand new world. The tester's eyes tightened. Then said to the observer. That's right, an unknown world, a world without mind cubes and threats, said the observer. But if he is a person from such a world, then he should not have any adaptability to the mental cube. But why can he summon those ship girls that are impossible to appear in this world now? The tester asked. I don't know, because there is no such thing recorded in our data terminal, the observer said, but one thing is certain, that is, he seems to have been sent to this world deliberately, right on the Arctic ice sheet. The moment the research room above appeared. That thing is also very strange. A facility like that would usually only appear in the main world. It would be impossible for it to appear in a numbered world like ours, but it just appeared out of thin air. And there is actually a Rubik's Cube of a planned ship inside. Why did you stop me when I asked the scavenger to lead the Siren fleet to pursue it? The tester said, looking at the observer. Everything that seems unreasonable has its rationality. Don't forget that this world is now one of our experimental sites. Why do you think that research laboratory appeared in the Arctic ice sheet? The observer smiled, since we these ship girls and humans can be used as guinea pigs, and then some people can use us as guinea pigs. The tester narrowed his eyes, so this is all related to that human being. If it's not a coincidence, then it's certain, the observer smiled, but since they used such deliberate means to let us clearly understand this matter, they obviously don't care what we do. And don't you find it interesting? Haven't our experiments been looking for these variables so far? But now someone has actually sent the variables to us personally. If we don't use them, how can we deserve to be called an experimental institution? What do you mean? The tester asked in surprise. Let him develop and make him strong enough to eradicate us in this world, the observer smiled. I seem to understand, the tester nodded. So next I need you to extract some resources and send them to him inadvertently to make him grow faster without making him suspicious. I would like to see what the purpose of the person behind the scenes is. The observer smiled. Well, I'm going to prepare the information right now. So except for this man, what about the other camps? Will they continue to act according to our plan as usual? The tester asked. Certainly. Shinji didn't know that his appearance had been controlled by the Siren. Even the fact that he came from the Earth had been discovered by the Siren. Today, he is still carrying out the mission, but before carrying out the mission, he also took Shinano to Akashi's store to do some data checking. Just like what Akashi said before, it really has no impact on Shinano at all. All he needs to do is let Shinano stand on the machine and start a full body scan. After scanning Akashi, she got some data as she wished, but just when she was happy, Shinji told him the price Akashi should have paid before. The 50% off discount really made Akashi heartbroken, but compared to the information he already had in hand, it didn't seem like such a loss. So Shinji took the opportunity to put all his ship girls into powerful ship uniforms, and also bought a lot of tutoring materials, strengthening tools, etc., and almost emptied Akashi's store. This made Akashi, who originally thought he was not at a huge loss, bleed in his heart. Seeing Shinji walking away with several ship girls, and then looking at the empty shelves, Akashi suddenly wanted to cry without tears. But Shinji didn't care about this. If he could pluck Akashi's wool, he could pluck it as hard as he could, so this time he spent almost half of the supplies he had stored to buy these ship equipment and props. With the support of these new ship equipment and props, Shinji's subsequent missions will be even smoother. Time passed quickly, and the Siren Tide Commendation Conference began to be held. Naturally, Shinji did not miss this commendation conference. As the tactical commander this time, Shinji brought about earth-shaking changes in this battle. Forcibly rewriting the entire defensive situation in the form of a mobile battle, creating a miracle of 0 casualties in the waters of Shenhua City. Therefore, because of these achievements, he was awarded the rank of Major by the Donghuang General Command, and the Xingai fleet where Shinji was located officially became a third-level fleet. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 400. Time flies, November flies by, and in December, Guanghui's words surprised Qin Ji and the other ship girls. "Guanghui, are you dreaming?" Qin Ji said to Guanghui in surprise. "Well, Commander, I don't know why, but last night when I was sleeping, I dreamed that I became a huge battleship, sailing on the ocean. That scene appeared for a short time, and then I woke up." Guanghui said to Qin Ji. "Is this the beginning of awakening?" Qin Ji asked Guanghui doubtfully. "Do you feel anything unusual in other places?" "That's not true," Guanghui said, shaking his head. "I think this is largely a sign of awakening, right? Didn't Mikasa-senpai say something like this before?" Node said while looking at Guanghui, with a hint of envy in his eyes. "Where are Akagi and Kaga? Have you come to the guest house today?" Hearing Nashiro mention Mikasa, Qin Ji suddenly thought that there were 2 awakened ship girls in his fleet, and they were the first to discover the awakened ship girls before Kauki. Traces, if they are in the guest house, then they can see clearly whether Guanghui has begun to awaken now. Akagi and Kaga haven't come yet. They usually come after training in the morning, Lexington said to Qin Ji. Qin Ji couldn't help but nodded. Then it seems we can only get a definite answer after they come over. Yes, all the ship girls nodded, confirming Qin Ji's view. Sure enough, after lunch, Akagi and Kaga came to the guest house together. Originally, they went directly to Tianken's room as before, but when they arrived at the rest area on the 2nd floor, they saw Qin Ji and others already sitting there waiting for them. "Huh? Didn't you go on a mission today?" Shi Kong was a little curious after going upstairs, because every time she came, Qin Ji had already left the guest house with the royal ship girl. This was the first time he had seen her in this month. Qin Ji shook his head. "I'm not going on a mission today, but I have something very important that I want to ask you about." "Oh, you want to ask us something very important?" Shi Kong suddenly became energetic and asked Qin Ji, "What kind of thing is it? Can you tell me now?" Qin Ji said to Shi Kong, "Guanghui had a dream last night." "I'm dreaming, what's so weird about that?" "I often dream too," Akagi said indifferently, but when she said this, she suddenly looked in the direction of the light. "The awakening has begun. How come it's so fast?" Qin Ji's face was full of excitement when he heard Shishin's surprised words, "So the glory has begun to awaken now." Akagi's face was solemn, and Kaga beside her was also amazed. "Yes, the pace of awakening has begun, and the speed is a bit too fast." "The speed is faster, how do you say that?" Qin Ji asked doubtfully. "Commander, do you know how long it took us from when we started to show signs of awakening to when we actually started to awaken?" He asked Qin Ji. Qin Ji shook his head. Of course he didn't know about these things. After all, awakenings were rarely spread among the commanders. This was only known to some high-ranking camp officials. "It took us 4 years, a full 4 years to start awakening, and we were still the first batch of awakened ship girls. But since the last time we discovered that the glory has traces of awakening, it has only been a few months. That's all. So you understand why we are surprised. The gap between 4 years and a few months is a huge gap." Kaga exclaimed. Qin Ji asked in surprise, "Does it take that long? But why does Guanghui move so quickly? Is it because he is my ship's wife, or is it because of some other reasons? I don't know. Maybe only after understanding the experiences of the 2 of you can we judge whether there is a direct relationship between Guanghui's awakening and you. If there is a direct relationship, then the awakening of the ship girls in our fleet will greatly increase the success rate and shorten the awakening time." Kaga said. Qin Ji nodded. "Then I'm relieved after hearing this information, but I still have a question, that is, Guanghui has begun to awaken now, but she doesn't feel any changes in her body, and the same goes for you. It will take a long time to truly experience the physical changes, but we dare not make a conclusion about Guanghui now because she has greatly exceeded our expectations. But what is certain is that when Guanghui is able to successfully complete a complete dream, her body will undergo fundamental changes. Shi Kung said to Qin Ji. Qin Ji nodded, I see, so as the dream deepens, the degree of awakening of the whole person will also become deeper. It's like this. Akage nodded and said. That's good. At least we can confirm a clearer message and don't have to guess anything by ourselves. Qin Ji nodded, smiled, and said to Guanghui beside him, so Guanghui, keep working hard from now on, please explain to me at any time if there is any situation. Don't worry, Commander, Guanghui said with a smile. Seeing this scene, Akage rolled his eyes, so how are you collecting combat data now? How much more is needed for the planned ship cube? Qin Ji smiled when he heard Shishin's inquiry and replied, don't worry, the mind cube will take some time, at least about 2 years. 2 years? That's pretty fast. Wasn't it expected to take longer? Akage said in surprise. That was just an estimate before. I don't know why, but the number of siren fleets in the Donghuang Sea has increased more than usual, so there are more battles every day. Coupled with the coordination with the Maritime Safety Administration, I am exposed to urgent tasks every day. Combat has become a daily routine for me now, so it will be faster. Qin Ji said. Coordination with the Maritime Safety Administration? It seems that Dong Huang is also more concerned about this planned ship, Akage said meaningfully. Isn't this natural? Which of the 9 major camps is not interested in this? After all, it is a ship girl who has never appeared before, and she is a ship girl who is known as the abolished case, Qin Ji said. What about Shinano? After all this time, has Akashi researched anything? Akage asked. Qin Ji shook his head, I asked Akashi specifically a few days ago. The progress is still slow now. I can only take one step at a time. But I believe that if I can summon Shinano, then I will naturally find someone who can break through her method, but the time has not come yet. You are quite normal, Akage smiled slightly. Got used to. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 401. Habits are also helpless. Although Akage and Kaga have now become his ship girls, due to their special status, Qin Ji still chooses not to tell them his origins for the time being, but Luan already knows. But with her character, she wouldn't care even if she knew it, because according to Luan's original words, what I want to follow is a strong person. As long as he is strong, it doesn't matter where he comes from. It is obvious that through this period of understanding, Luan has a very complete understanding of Qin Ji under the guidance of Tian Cheng. We know his past deeds and our expectations for the future. For Luan, an excellent commander like Qin Ji is what she pursues, because this can enable her to exert greater power. At the same time, the glorious awakening also doubled the confidence of the ship girls in Qin Ji's fleet. After all, so far, no commander's ship girl has been able to awaken independently. Guanghui is the first, but she will definitely not be the last. And now Qin Ji's entire fleet is the first to reach full training, and the ship girl who has begun to awaken is a centaur, and there are still no day in Belfast. Their current level of training is over 80. Qin Ji believes that as long as he persists in his current state, by the time of the next Siren Tide, the ship girls he summons may be able to reach full level of training. On the other side, because Qin Ji previously commanded the large fleet in the sea area of Shenhua City, he successfully repelled the Siren Tide and achieved 0 casualties. For a time, his name spread overwhelmingly in the circle of Donghuang commanders. Many commanders, deputy commanders, or free commanders of the large fleet are very curious and looking forward to Qin Ji's courses. One after another came to Shenhua City Commander Academy to gain experience and tactics. Faced with these supplies delivered to his door, Qin Ji would naturally not let them go. However, because it requires a long time to complete the task, it has changed from 3 classes per week to 1 lecture per week. And because there were so many people coming to class, the large lecture hall could no longer hold any seats. As the dean of the college, the Prince of Wales had no choice but to arrange for Qin Ji to teach in the auditorium. But even so, the auditorium was still full, and there were still people standing. But despite this, it still did not stop the enthusiasm of the commanders. On the contrary, more and more people came. Therefore, in this environment, Qin Ji dedicated 1 day every week to help these commanders promote unified training of tactical knowledge, and spent most of the time performing tasks. The other members of the Grand Fleet are also actively working hard to perform their personal tasks. And because of their performance during the Siren Tide, they also accumulated a large amount of material resources. They have used this resource to expand their fleets, and now almost every member has more than 4 ship girls. And because they had tasted the benefits of Qin Ji's aviation tactics before, basically everyone summoned an aircraft carrier in the battleship. But here I have to mention Li Chenming. He did summon an aircraft carrier this time, but he thought he could summon a big sister, but instead he summoned Saratoga. This made him very tearful. Why could someone summon an aircraft carrier when they summoned it? That kind of big sister who looked very brave at first glance. But when he summoned him, he turned out to be a ratite. Could it be that he would never be able to summon a big sister in his life? But no one can help him at this point. Perhaps, he is more destined to be a flat-chested ship girl? Time passed like this little by little, and soon it was the end of the semester. The trainee commanders left the academy one after another and returned to their homes, but Qin Ji stayed in the school just like last year. Will there be another spring festival gala this year? Qin Ji asked Mikasa beside him. Since the school is on holiday, Mikasa has nothing to do, so basically every day besides building models at home, she comes over to chat with Qin Ji and the others. Yes, and you will definitely not be in school at this time next year. This will be your last year in school. It will definitely be held no matter what, Mikasa said to Qin Ji with a smile. Qin Ji nodded, then it will still be held in the same way as last year. Of course, if possible, you can tell the special envoys of the other 8 camps and ask them if they want to participate in our spring festival party. If they do, please prepare a program for them. But if they don't want to perform, they won't force it. After all, it would be nice to have a banquet with many people together, right? Mikasa said with a smile. Qin Ji nodded, that's true. Then I'll tell them. If possible, I'll let you know then. By the way, will Senior Mikasa still prepare with me this year? Of course, the same as last year, Mikasa smiled. At this time, she couldn't help but turn her head and look at Guanghui. I heard that Guanghui has begun to awaken. Yes, did Qin Ji mean to hide it, because Guanghui has slowly begun to change in form during this period of time, becoming gradually different from other Guanghui. Compared to someone like Gan Niang, whose observations are relatively subtle, this slight change cannot be concealed at all. The only thing that can bring about this change is independent awakening. Mikasa couldn't help but exclaimed, what a miracle! Now that the ship girl can awaken independently beside the commander, I'm afraid she can only be glorious, right? But for you, such miracles seem to be commonplace. I really can't see through you more and more, Qin Ji. Qin Ji couldn't help but smile awkwardly, and several ship girls beside him couldn't help but laugh out loud. If you can understand or not understand this, I'm still me. But what has changed is just the knowledge I have. Compared with when I first met Mikasa-senpai, I have grown a lot and matured a lot. Yeah, time flies so fast, it's been more than a year and a half in the blink of an eye. Mikasa smiled, recalling the scene when she and Qin Ji met for the first time. At that time, Qin Ji was very young and very reserved in his actions. When he spoke, he would think twice before speaking. But in just over a year, he has become an irreplaceable person in the Commander Academy. Then let's prepare well and spend the last spring festival together at the Commander Academy. Maybe the next time we spend the spring festival together, I don't know how long it will be, Qin Ji said to Mikasa. Well, it's time to get ready, Mikasa nodded, and the ship girls around Qin Ji also showed smiles. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 402. As the temperature gradually gets colder, the spring festival is getting closer and closer. It seems that because of the approaching spring festival, the siren fleet in the waters around Donghuang has also decreased a lot. This made Kang Long, who had been worried that the commander would leave the port more often due to the spring festival, couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. At this time, she was standing at the window looking at the endless sea outside the window, seeming to be thinking about something. At this time, there was a knock on the office door. This knock on the door woke up Kang Long, who was thinking. She couldn't help but turn her body towards the door and said, "There, please come in." Following Kang Long's words, the office door opened and a girl walked in holding an envelope. "Director Kang Long, your letter," the girl said to Kang Long. "Oh? Kolki, is this my personal letter?" Kang Long said to Kolki doubtfully. "Yes, Director, and it seems to be sent from the Commander's Academy," Coke also said hesitantly. "Commander's Academy? Our Maritime Safety Bureau is not far from the Commander's Academy, right? Do you need to write a letter?" Kang Long asked doubtfully, but she still walked to Coke's side and took the book from her hand. "Letter?" When Soryu picked up the letter, he saw the signature Commander Academy at the first glance. "The letter from Wales? It's mysterious. If you have anything to do, just call me and say no. Is there any need to write a letter at such a close distance?" Kang Long looked at the familiar font and said with a slight complaint. Coker on the side stuck out his tongue at Kang Long. "Well, Director, I have already sent you the letter. I will go out and get busy. If you need anything, please call me at any time." "Yes." Kang Long nodded to Kolki and opened the envelope. Kolki ran away in a flash. Kang Long looked at her leaving figure, shook his head and smiled. Then he took out the contents of the envelope, only to find that it was not the letter paper he thought it was, but an invitation letter. Invitation letter? I haven't heard that the Commander Academy is holding activities now. Isn't it a holiday now? Kang Long looked at the invitation letter in his hand with some confusion and said to himself. Although he couldn't guess what the invitation was, he would know if he opened it and took a look. So Kang Long opened the invitation with this idea in mind and only saw what was written inside. "Dear Director Kang Long, at the beginning of the new year, I sincerely invite you to attend the Spring Festival Gala held by the Commander Academy. If you have time, please arrive at the banquet hall of the old guest house of the Commander Academy before 8 p.m. on New Year's Eve. Also, if you can prepare 1 or 2 shows to perform on stage, I would be very grateful." Kang Long looked at the invitation and couldn't help but smile. These people. Just as Kang Long was opening the invitations, the envoys from the other 8 camps were also opening the invitations. When I saw the content on the invitation, I was stunned for a moment, and then I couldn't help but smile. These invitations were naturally prepared by Qin Ji, because he always felt that it would be rude to tell others directly. It's better to prepare invitations like this and send them to the people who want to attend. This way, even if others don't have time and won't come, it won't be very embarrassing for both parties. After notifying people who were familiar with Qin Ji, preparations for the Spring Festival Gala began smoothly. Compared to last year when I had to help out, I don't have to do any help with the preparations this year, because the girls at home have already assigned all these tasks. I can only sneak from upstairs to downstairs, circle around, and then sneak from downstairs to upstairs again. In the end, Qin Ji, who really had nothing to do, went directly to Ayanami's room and played video games with a few destroyers. As time goes by, the atmosphere of the Spring Festival in the college is getting stronger and stronger. The four Anshan-level sisters, Yuxian and Ningai and Pinghai, all started decorating the academy every year. Little red lanterns, big red lanterns, lanterns, Spring Festival couplets, these things are essential. Even the special envoys of the 8 camps who had nothing to do these days have joined the Commander Academy in preparing for the Donghuang Spring Festival. While playing, I learned about the Donghuang Spring Festival and the customs of this place, which can be regarded as enhancing the friendship between the two parties during play. Finally, the time came on New Year's Eve, and all the guests who received the invitation came on time. Under the welcome of Qin Ji and the Prince of Wales, everyone smiled and walked to the banquet hall happily. By 8 o'clock in the evening, all the instructors from the Commander Academy, including all the envoys from the 8 major camps and Kang Long from the Maritime Safety Bureau, had arrived. What Qin Ji didn't expect was that even the Donghuang General Headquarters had sent people here. The people they sent for this banquet were Chang Chun, who had gone to Chongqing with Qin Ji and the others. So under the auspices of Hai, the Spring Festival party officially began. Originally, Qin Ji did not expect everyone to prepare a program, but to his surprise, almost every ship girl who came prepared a program. Even Kang Long, who usually looks very serious, prepared a Hwaza performance. Not to mention the Kagura dance performed by Akagi and Kaga, which also left Qin Ji stunned. All in all, this Spring Festival Gala was very successful. Everyone is also very happy, giving up the interests of the camp and the battle between them, and all that is left is to enjoy the joy of this moment. But with the end of the Spring Festival Gala, everything is back on track. Qin Ji led the royal ship girls to go out on missions every day, while Bismarck and Veneto also took people out to do missions respectively. After several months of training, Richelieu also began to join Bismarck and Veneto. Took the ship girls who had trained with her before, and Joan of Arc, and embarked on a journey to complete the commissioned mission. After the Lantern Festival, the quiet Commander Academy became lively again. Commanders who left the academy began to return to school one after another, and the second half of Qin Ji's second academic year also officially kicked off. However, even though it is a new semester, not much has changed. Qin Ji still does what he should do. Because his time now is completely autonomous, no one will come to ask him, and he does not need to be reminded all the time. During this period of time, he also used his free time to write down the information rights he promised to the 9 major camps. After he handed it to the Dean, Prince of Wales, the Prince of Wales quickly made a copy. Qin Ji gave it to the special envoys of the other 8 camps respectively, and the copy of Donghuang was personally delivered to the General Headquarters by the Prince of Wales.